Defense headquarters has debunked reports alleging that the cancellation of Nigeria's 65th independence anniversary activities was due to an attempted coup plot. In a statement by the Director of Defense Information, Brigadier General Tukur Gusau, the DHQ described the report by an online publication as false, malicious, and intended to cause unnecessary tension. Gusau clarified that the decision to cancel the parade was to allow President Bola Tinubu attend a strategic bilateral meeting abroad and enable the armed forces to maintain momentum in the fight against terrorism, insurgency, and banditry. He added that the arrest of 16 officers recently mentioned by the DHQ was unrelated to any coup attempt, but part of routine disciplinary procedures. Reassuring Nigerians of the military's loyalty, the DHQ affirmed its commitment to democracy and the Constitution, urging the public to disregard false reports and continue supporting the armed forces in safeguarding national peace and stability. Nze, what do you make of this story?
Well, thank you very much. I think I have long awaited this kind of report from Defense Headquarters because, you know, the issue of Coup is it's a very strong threat to democracy, very strong threat to democracy. And, if by any means some officers in the army are coming out to say this, yes, Defense Headquarters can say whatever they want to say. Mind you that oftentimes Coup does not start from there. Coup starts from among a few officers who feel disgruntled about what is happening and who feel that they can topple government and do their stuff. And most often they are middle officers from rank of major downward, and major captain and all that. They are the most fierce in the army. And if you can bring some lieutenant colonels, they will still join. And if this rumor should have been allowed to last longer, you see that if those people who, dreamt of it, while they are cooling their heads somewhere, others will come up. Because every Nigerian is a Nigerian in the spirit first. And you know there is a spirit that permeates us as a people. When something happens and there is no commensurate response, they should either stop that thing immediately. There is likelihood of another group coming up to repeat same. That's why you see that after Ojukwu fought for Biafra and they had the war, 30 months war, and while people were relaxing, suddenly Wazirike came up with the same Biafra stuff. They silenced him. Nnamdi Kanu has come up. Now, why they were incarcerating Nnamdi Kanu, Simon Ekpa came up. And why they heard Simon Ekpa, Gentle Yahoo came up. And it will shock you that incarceration cannot stop this agitation except a proper thing is done. Now, for the Defense Headquarters to come up to say there was no sign of Coup, it will help a lot of people believe that there was no sign of Coup. And I cannot stay here to tell you that there was attempt. Because Coup is not something you just come and talk about. Do you know that penalty for Coup is death? Failed Coup. The penalty is death. So why should anybody come to talk about it when you are not certain? Now, they are telling us that the 15 officers they are detaining, 16 officers they are detaining is on a different... They should have told us what exactly was the offense. But if they didn't tell us...
They said inability. They said one of the things they mentioned was that the disciplinary measures that they couldn't pass exams. Promotional. The reasons they actually gave was not...
See, it was too flimsy.
Yes, it was too flimsy. Because, I mean, you recall when recently a military man that was court-martialed was sentenced to death.
Yeah.
You know, by the military court. when his arrest was done for everything he did, I mean, all that process was not even made public.
Yeah. You don't expect military to show
All
you
that was not
what
made
they do in public.
Right.
Yeah.
Even with the level of crime that officer committed. Now,
even coming to tell us the judgment, even for military coming to tell us the judgment, I felt they were just being too lenient and being partially civil in some of those things. Otherwise, military matter is handled militarily and it remains for them. That's why they don't allow the conventional court to try military cases. Right. They bring it back to themselves. That's why it is called court-martial.
Right.
They bring it back to themselves and they handle it. So for now that they have come to say there was no threat of failed coup and all that, I plead with Nigerians to take it from that angle. And also let government of Tinubu use their tongue and count their teeth.
All right.
Because if this is anything to go by, it is possible that those whom you don't know knew about the coup may eventually regroup. Are you getting me?
Because it means that it's a seed that has been sown.
That is the point.
You may kill the people, but the idea...
Now, that's why I said those that knew about it. You know, in coup, if there is a failed coup and you heard about it, you're also involved. If there is a failed coup and you heard, just heard, somebody's... Maybe Victor came around, this thing, say, I know go come that meeting, no. I know Grigo. But I didn't report. And the thing failed. I'm involved. That is one thing about this military stuff. So you have just captured these 16. You don't know others. There's no how only 16 of them, if truly, because we are speaking as if this thing is coup, truly. They are telling us it is not coup. But who even came up to allege that there was coup plot? That's the issue.
All right.
So, you can't see a smoke without fire.
All right,
yes, the fire may not burn, but it means that somehow something is fanning the ember somewhere.
All right. They're saying that you cannot build nothing. You cannot build something on nothing. That there must have been something. What do you make of this story?
I think I completely agree with what he has said. It makes a lot of sense. Unfortunately, some of the things I heard, I asked around. I can't discuss them on television, but that's why I said I agree with him that there's no smoke without fire. And the fact that the question is who even mentioned, who even suggested, who assumed, that it would be that it was because it was a coup that made them do all of this. So there's no smoke without fire, but it's good they have come out in this manner to do this. But I think there should be more, and they should tackle whatever caused this issue, whatever minor or major. I think the military needs to sit up and ensure that within themselves they are lesser dissatisfied and disgruntled people within them, because I think that's what causes, or enforces or informs people to take actions of coup. So they should do better to ensure that we don't.
Well, one would say the fear may be palpable to a large extent, considering the successful coups across certain countries in West Africa. In Africa, for example, you have Burkina Faso, you have Mali, and other states with the backing of Russia.
Some foreign countries. With the backing
of Russia, and also some ties to China, as it were. And then people are looking at it that, okay, the China and Russia are trying to topple and whittle down the influence of the West, right? So people are looking at this. If you're looking at this from the bigger picture, international politics and what could be going on, then, like Nze said, this could be like, okay, President Bola Tinubu, use your tongue and count your teeth. And he also said this is not coming out of nothing. But let's say, like you said, if the defense headquarters have said there was no coup, then Nigerians
should believe there's no
that there was no
but let me drop this before we draw the curtain. You see, there is no how you can have a coup in a nation without collaboration. And you know that people talk to people. And look at what is happening. The gale of Coup around Africa, as if I would say West Africa, and see the ill feeling of the rank and file of our military. You see the ill feeling our soldiers are going through, the demoralization the soldiers are going through, by way of not really handling insurgency, insecurity the way it should be handled. Because there are people powering this. We've seen helicopters, we've seen planes bringing ammunitions, bringing food and other military hardwares to these people. We've seen it. And government has not taken a decisive action to investigate these things and perhaps bring the perpetrators to book. Rather, they keep romancing with the sponsors to the demoralization of the Nigerian soldiers. You see that it is possible that the young ones might say, we can't continue like this. Since we have signed to serve our nation, we'll continue to serve our nation, but we want to stop this, then we hand back over to civilian rule.
Interesting,
like
but then
that.
the people who were arrested are not young people in the military rank and file. They are actually, you know, among the high-ups.
Until you know their age, until you know their ages, then that's when you say whether they are young or...
from the angle of age, but looking at the angle of ranking in military, it is not your age, it is your rank.
I know,
right.
but I know the angle I'm coming from.
All right.